Welcome to Budget Beauty, where I help you look flawless for less. Welcome back, and a very special welcome if you're new here. My name is Jen, and this is Budget Beauty. We do everything beauty on a budget, and that includes testing new makeup. But now I have been putting out a lot of eyeshadow tutorials. When new collections are released, new palettes, I've been buying those and putting those out, but it's been a hot minute since we did a testing new makeup. And today we're going to actually be testing out 4 new to me products. I have a face palette, an eyeshadow palette, a brow product, and a new liner. So I'm really excited to test these out, see if they're worth the money. So if you're excited too, give this video a big, huge thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed, your bell notification is turned on because I upload lots and lots of new videos every single week. Don't forget to check out the description box down below where I will link all of the new makeup that we test out today, all of the other makeup that I'm wearing if you wanted to recreate the entire look, my favorite beauty boxes, discounts to my favorite indie brands, and come follow me on TikTok for a little bit more beauty on a budget. So let me show you the 4 products that we're testing out today, then I'll zoom you in and we'll get started with this testing new makeup. So the first thing we're going to test out is the Makeup Revolution Super Flick eyeliner. Now, I picked this up a while ago. I was just saving it until I had enough new makeup for this video. This is the Makeup Revolution liquid liner. Now, I am a liquid liner person through and through. I think this is a felt tip. Yes, felt tip liner, which is my preferred liner. I don't love Makeup Revolution, as you know, so this is going to be interesting. We're going to test this out, see if it's any good. And then from Colourpop, I picked up their brow pencil from Ulta. I had an Ulta haul video come out recently where I bought this on a really, really good deal. And I have actually never tried Colourpop's brow pencils, and I'm in need of a new one. So I'm excited for that. Next up, we have the Ofra Cosmetics Buenavidos Miami Mini Mix Face Palette. Now, this actually came in a subscription box, and I set it aside because I wanted to test it out with you. So we have 2 blushes in Vice and 3OH5. We have 2 highlighters in Magic City and Ocean Drive, and 2 bronzers in the shade Cafecito and Dale. Now, I swatched all these out for you as you saw. They didn't swatch the best. The highlighter swatched really beautifully, but the blushes were definitely kind of lackluster in the swatches. I had to build them up to get any payoff. And then same with the bronzers. This bronzer is way, way, way too deep for me, so I'll have to reach for this one. The highlighter swatched beautifully, which is what, in my opinion, Ofra does the best at. So this ought to be interesting to see if this palette is any good. And then I'm really excited for our eyeshadow palette because it's from LA Girl Cosmetics. LA Girls Cosmetics is underrated. Their eyeshadows are typically really, really good. They have some fantastic products in their line in general. So I did grab this eyeshadow palette called Dia and Noche, and this is a 15 pigment pan palette. Now there is only 5 mattes and 10 shimmer, so it's definitely a shimmer heavy palette. It's swatched really nicely. The matte swatched nicely. The shimmers were really nice and buttery. It is in just some plastic packaging, no mirror. Love the color story with all the pinks and the purples, and then we have the pop of some of those lighter fun shimmers and then some deep dark shimmers. Some of the shimmers were more foiled and sparkly, and some of them were more like a matte with a shimmer. So I'm very interested to see how this applies to the eye. So we're going to do just a fun kind of pinky purple look today. So the first thing we're going to do is test out the Ofra Cosmetics face palette. So I have set my face with powder, done my cream products, and so I need to do my bronzer. So I'm going to have to pick up this shade here, which was the shade Cafecito, because this one obviously is way, way, way too deep for me. Now I could use this as a contour, but I already did a cream contour from Milk, so we're gonna pick up this bronzer. Like I said, none of these swatched very well, and I really, really had to dig in to get any color payoff. This also leans a little orange in the palette, so like I said, this ought to be interesting. I'm going to apply that. Oh, okay. Wow, I'm getting much more payoff than I thought that I would. And actually, this is a nice bronzer shade for me. It's definitely not as orange when applied to the face as it is in the palette. And I'm definitely getting some color payoff. Like I said, more than I anticipated that I would. So I'm going to apply this to the high points of my face, basically where the sun would hit, little on my nose and under the chin. So I actually like that. I actually like it more than I thought I would. It definitely didn't swatch well, but it applied really beautifully to the skin, just kind of gave me that sun-kissed look, which is exactly what I was going for. I actually like this top lighter shade bronzer. I definitely want to try this deeper one out, maybe as a contour shade. And then for blushes, like I said, neither one of these swatched very well either, but as we saw with the contour, it went on, or the bronzer, it went on a lot nicer to the skin. I'm really deciding between the orangey blush, that's the one that speaks to me, but I think this pinky blush would pair a little bit better with today's eye look. So we're gonna go with that one. I'm just nervous that it's going to not show up, but we shall see. You can see I'm getting quite a bit of payoff on the brush. Okay. Alrighty. Similar to our bronzer, definitely more pigment on the cheeks. That is a really pretty color. It's a lavendery pink, so it actually pairs beautifully with that LA Girl palette. I'm impressed. I actually really love the bronzer and the blush. And then lastly is highlighter, and like I said, these swatched beautifully. We have a little bit deeper kind of goldy champagne and then a more icy white. I'm going for the icy white. That was actually the shade Magic City, and then I used the shade Vice as my blush. So picking that up on a highlight brush and just applying that to the high points of my cheek. Like I said, Ofra does highlights the best. Honestly, it's the one product from Ofra that I really like. I don't buy a lot from the brand. And this one, again, came in a subscription box, but I do own quite a few of their highlighters and they never disappoint. And this one, absolutely beautiful. Look at that. So glowy, so pretty. So I'm going to pop a little bit on my nose, and then I usually add just a tiny bit to my forehead, my Cupid's bow. Another quick little blend. I'm loving it. I'm loving the highlight, the blush, and the bronzer. So despite my initial thoughts, I'm really digging this Miami face palette. Originally, I was like, this is gonna be a one-time use and then I'm going to declutter it, but I actually really like it, and this would be perfect for travel. Now I am going to apply my MAC Paint Pot in Painterly, which is my go-to eyeshadow primer. I always prime my eyes before applying shadow. I actually just got home from working out. The day that I'm filming this video is the Sephora sale, so I'm going to be driving in to check out the Sephora sale. There's quite a few things that I always stock up on during the sale. It's really just a good time to get all my staples. Since I am rouge and I do get the 20% off, I need to go to Target, so I need this makeup to last all day. So I'm going to tap in my eye primer and let's test out that LA Girl palette. Again, we only have 5 mattes, which is the top row in the palette. So I'm going to pick up the light purple shade. And this actually, like I said, is swatched really nicely. I'm picking that up on a fluffy brush and I'm going to use that as my transition shade, or basically pop that into the crease. And because I have hooded eyes, I am actually going to bring that up a little bit above the crease so that when my eyes are open, you can still see that shade. That's really pretty. Blend it out beautifully. I'm getting quite a bit of payoff. And this is one of the lightest mattes in the palette. So that is amazing that we've got such great payoff with one of the lightest mattes. Next, I'm going to pick up the bright pink, like bubblegum pink shade, which is kind of a mid-tone matte. I will say though that there is a lot of light and mid-tone mattes, and you guys know I like a deep dark matte for the outer corner, and the darkest shade in the palette, well really the 2 or 3 darkest shades are shimmer. So I'm going to use this dark purple as my outer corner, but I may end up having to add a little bit more depth with one of those shimmer shades. But picking up that bubblegum pink, I'm going to tap that into the crease and blend. I want to add a little bit of pink to the crease, but just staying right in the crease, not going above at all, because I do want that really pretty lavender shade to pop through. This is also applying nicely, layering really nicely over the purple. It's not blending away, it's pigmented, I have no fallout, and this is a very affordable drugstore palette. One more time into the light lavender shade. I'm just going to use that to buff and blend out the edges. Like I said, we don't have any deep dark mattes in the palette. The deepest one is this purple right here. And to me, that's more of a mid-tone. So I'm not sure it's going to be deep enough for me, but let's go ahead and apply that in the outer portion. This is where I really like to add in some depth. So it's actually a little darker, deeper, and giving me a little bit more depth than I even honestly thought that it would. It's definitely a much darker purple than our crease shade. It's definitely better than I thought. Still not as deep and dark as I would prefer for the outer corner. I really, really love to add all that depth. But honestly, you could, if you're not into as deep dark, outer corner, this shade is really beautiful. And you guys know I always say purples are rough to formulate, and they usually are patchy. A lot of brands are patchy. Not at all. And this just layered over 2 other shadows. I am going to grab this darkest shimmer, and like I said, to me it felt more like a matte with shimmer. It was sparkly and pretty, but I'm going to use it again just to add a little more depth, and I'm just going to tap right on top of the purple matte. That's perfect. That's what I wanted, was just that tiny extra bit of depth in my outer corner. And you can't even see that it's a shimmer shade. And I'm using that same fluffy brush, no added shadow. I'm going to give everything a blend. I will say, I don't know if you can see, but I have a little bit of fallout. Not a big deal. I'll just go ahead and wipe it away. But so far, this is looking really good. As always, I'm going to add some of my NYX glitter glue to my lid, and we'll test out these shimmers. I do want to use my finger and a brush so that I can show you both methods of application. I also always use a glitter primer, pretty much NYX, before applying shimmer. So I want to bring in a little more pink because I have quite a bit of purple in the crease. So I'm going to start with this pink shimmer down in the corner. This is really pretty. It kind of has a lavender base to it, and I'm going to apply that on the outer 2/3 or so of my lid. Oh, that's really pretty. Wow, that's really pretty. It's definitely pink with a lavender shift. It's a pretty light shimmer, which I like. It adds a little bit of brightness to the look. It's layering really easily, and again, it's going on really nicely with my finger. Then I'm gonna go in with this shade here. It's kind of a purple, sort of silver shade. Picking that up on a flat, dense brush, I'm going to put that next to that pink shade. Oh, I really like this shade. This is so beautiful. Wow. And that's going on really nicely with the brush. I would say that the brush is even a better method of application than a finger, which I usually find the opposite. I usually find that if I use my finger, I get more payoff, but this is applying really nicely with the brush. Honestly, you could do a finger or a brush. And then using the darkest purple shimmer, or second to darkest, I guess, not the one we use in the outer corner, but the next deepest, I'm going to just apply a little of that on the outer corner next to where we have the deep dark mattes, just again to add that little bit of extra depth. That's so pretty. Okay, lower lash line, I'm going to do the deep purple matte, or the deep purple shimmer, the one that we use to deepen up that outer corner, and I'm going to buff that on my lower lash line. So pretty. And then I'm going to use the pink and the mattes that we didn't use, the little bit lighter than that bubblegum pink, and buff that on the lower lash line as well. I just want to add a little more pink into the look. And I think I'm going to use this shimmer here as my inner corner highlight. It looks kind of pinky white. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Okay, perfect. That is a perfect inner corner. Would also be really pretty all over the lid. I always do just one final blend. So there's our finished eye look. We're ready to do our liner and test out the Super Flick eyeliner from Makeup Revolution. So here is what the liner looks like. And it's not a felt tip. It's 100% a brush tip. I'm pretty sure it said felt tip. Yeah, felt dip liner. What does that mean? Felt dip? Anyways, it's 100% a brush, which is not my favorite, but we're gonna try it out. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a wing. That's actually working great for the wing. It's really pigmented, very, very opaque. I'm not feeling like I have to tug and pull to get any payoff. That actually applied really nicely. Wow, I'm impressed. Very, very impressed. Let me go ahead and do the other eye apply some mascara, and I'll be back and we'll do our brows together. I have added mascara, finished out that liner. I added the Juvia's Place Nubian Royal to my waterline. And now let's test out the brow pencil. One end of the brow pencil is the brow pencil. The other end is a spoolie. So what I like in a brow pencil is one that is creamy, but also not too creamy where it smudges. I'm able to draw in hair-like strokes, fill in my brows. So I have pretty thick brows, but there's some sparse areas. So I definitely want something that I'm able to fill those in. So far, I'm really liking this. It is creamy for sure. It's really easy to use. I can just fill in my brows without a lot of effort, but it's also not overly creamy, where I have a little bit of control too, where I have some control, which is really important to me because I don't want my brows to be too bold and dark, but I also want to be able to fill in those sparse areas. And then using this spoolie, I just like to brush everything into place. I am going to use a brow gel. Right now I'm using the one from Sephora just to kind of keep my brows down. I have pretty wild and crazy brows, but that is the Colourpop brow pencil. So let me go ahead and finish getting ready for the day, and then I'll be back to share with you my final thoughts on all of this testing new makeup. Right? I am ready for the day, and I'm ready to go over my final thoughts on the 4 products in this testing new makeup. So let's go ahead and start with the eyeshadow palette. I'm impressed with this. Like I said, I love LA Girl Cosmetics. For a drugstore brand, the quality is really good. I've never tried a palette that I didn't like. I've tried their complexion products, their lippies, a lot of the products in their line, and they've all been really, really nice. Now, I do, like I said, really like this palette. I think my eye look is really, really beautiful. My only complaint, couldn't get it open. My only complaint about this palette is the mattes. I appreciate that there's 5 mattes. I honestly wish that there was a few more, a little less shimmers. I just wish there were some deeper, darker mattes, just so we had a light, a mid-tone, and a deep. Luckily, this shade right here worked perfect just to add that depth to the outer corner, but everything performed beautifully. They layered beautifully, no patchiness. We did have a little bit of fallout, but it was super easy to wipe away. I mean, for the price, you can't beat it. They have quite a few palettes in this kind of same packaging with different color stories, but I really, really like this. And then this was very much a surprise for me. I didn't expect to like this Ofra palette as much as I do. Like I said, the swatches were a little lackluster, a little hard to swatch, but on the face, it's beautiful. And as I finished getting ready, I really appreciate that the bronzer, the blush, and the highlighter just sinks into my skin. It's not sitting on the surface. It looks very beautiful, very natural. I really like this. I'm actually heading out on a trip, and I'm gonna take this as my blush, bronzer, highlighter because I really liked it that much. Honestly, this is a huge, huge surprise. Now, the Makeup Revolution liner. So I love, like I said, don't love a brush tip liner, but this one worked really nice. What I will say that I don't love about this liner is it dries down and it becomes a little bit sticky, crusty feeling when it's dried down, but that's not even the worst of it. The thing I don't like about this is it's shiny. So once it's dry, it kind of has this patent leathery look to it, and I much prefer a more matte liner. I don't like a shimmery eyeliner or a patent leather looking eyeliner. Now, as far as performance went, it worked great. It's a perfect black liner. I actually liked the brush tip. I just don't love that it's shiny. So probably wouldn't buy this again. I will use this. I will finish it up, but definitely not my favorite liquid liner. However, this may be a favorite. I really like this Colourpop brow pencil. It's the perfect mix of creaminess and a little bit of stiffness so that you can apply it and it applies beautifully. It looks really, really nice on my brows. I really like this, and for as affordable as it is, it's a big win. So overall, I would say that we had quite a few wins. I mean, really the only kind of not win was the liner, but it still performed really nicely. And if you love a liner that dries down a little bit more shiny, you'll love it. Overall though, I was more than impressed and very, very pleasantly surprised about this palette. And I love my look. I think it's really, really beautiful. And like I said, I have errands to run today, calls to do. It's going to be a long day, and I'm excited to see how this makeup wears. I will go ahead and put an update here on the screen how the Ofra face palette, the liner, the brow pencil, and the palette wore throughout the day to let you know the longevity, but I really like my look. Like I really, really like it, and I can see myself honestly reaching for this palette a lot. So let me know down below, what do you think of my look? What do you think of this testing new makeup? I will link all of the items for you so you can easily shop them. Click the link, buy the makeup. Super easy. And then I'll put my favorite beauty boxes, all of the other makeup that I'm wearing today. I am wearing this really pretty Unearthly Cosmetics purple gloss on my lips to tie in with my eye look, my favorite beauty boxes, link discounts to my favorite indie brands, and come follow me on TikTok for a little bit more beauty on a budget. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.